Blake Whittle, welcome to Breakdown.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Matt.
Headed off to WordCamp US anytime soon, or are you staying away from this year?
Yeah, no, I'm heading out to WordCamp US next week. Heading out early Tuesday morning and be returning on Saturday. So looking forward to a couple days of WordPress, and actually, I'm super excited because there's been all that talk about how the sales numbers are lower this year, but I'm a little bit excited because I feel like it's going to be a more intimate conference.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about WordCamp US here in a couple days.
When you go to a WordCamp, because you go to press conf as well, right?
I
You go to
have not
multiple.
been to a press conf
Oh,
yet.
okay. I thought you went to press conf. How do you approach the goals for an in-person event? Oftentimes, I fall into just going and just surviving the travel and then walking around and saying hi to everybody. I always forget to have like really clear, dedicated goals. How about you when you go to events?
Yeah, so I also went to WordCamp Europe, and with that one, I had a bunch of like set goals of here's who I want to talk with, here's who I want to try to get partnerships with, etc. With WordCamp US, I'm just kind of just honestly just kind of chilling, if I'm being honest. Of course, I want to network with as many people as possible, but I guess a goal for me would be to network with a lot of new people. I feel like at work camps now that we all kind of talk in our circles, and so I'm hoping to kind of branch out and talk to some new people and sit with some random people at lunch and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to meeting new people for sure.
Nice. It's certainly for the listener who's never even heard of a word camp, maybe has never attended a word camp. These are these events that are purely for WordPress, and they're trying to branch out. They're trying to reach new audiences as WordPress needs, right? The more folks we can get wrangled into an in-person event with WordPress, the better it'll be for all of us, regardless of what you do with WordPress. Whether you're just a Gravity Forms user and you just happen to use it because that's what they're using at your job, or you're like a blogger or a designer, developer, agency, which Blake, you know a lot about running ClickIt.
Yeah.
What does ClickIt do? We're going to talk about some of the products and the Gravity Form stuff you have coming for our ecosystem, but what do you do on the services side with ClickIt?
Yeah, so with Click It, we're a traditional WordPress agency where we do web design, web development, maintenance, hosting, everything with WordPress. So currently with Click It, we have about 200 websites that we manage and maintain. And so I started Click It back in 2017 when I was a freshman in college, actually. I got started a bit younger than the average bear, and so I did that part time. And then once I graduated from college in 2020, I went full time with ClickIt, and we've just been growing ever since. And now with the AI era, we're adapting to that. But we just do a ton of stuff with WordPress and small businesses and stuff like that.
You mentioned AI, of course. Like I was going to try to avoid it, but we'll push that a little bit out because obviously, if you're interested to talk about it, I want to talk about it as well. I'm sure the listener is interested about like what people are doing with AI, WordPress, and Gravity Forms. But something that you mentioned, you started as a younger person, not only as an entrepreneur and business owner, but using WordPress and leveraging WordPress. When you saw opportunity to use WordPress, what was that spark as a young entrepreneur to go, oh, that WordPress thing, I want to use it? Can you walk us down why you saw or how you saw WordPress as an opportunity? And then if you could button that up against today in 2025, how do the younger people see that same opportunity? Or is it gone?
Right, for sure. So I got started with WordPress actually back in 2013 when I was a sophomore in high school. And I was in a web design class. I knew nothing really about web design, but I just loved it. And so what happened was the teacher for that class saw that I was excelling and whatnot, and he knew a realtor that needed some help with their website. And so he just kind of gave it off to me, and it was a WordPress website. Again, at the time, I knew nothing about WordPress or really even what it was, but I knew the basics of HTML and CSS, and so I did a lot of cowboy coding per se with that realtor's website, and from there, I discovered, themes, plugins, widget spec at the time, and I just fell in love with it. It was so powerful. The opportunities were endless with it because of all the plugins out there. At the time, as a younger person, it just seemed like that there was a plugin for everything, and could be true now. But there's always something that has to be custom coded. But yeah, at the time, just loved WordPress, fell in love with it, and started doing websites. And yeah, that's essentially it there.
Yeah. Do you see the opportunity changing, like with people coming out of school today? I mean, heck, anyone who might be studying computer information systems or going for that typical like CIS degree might be like, "Oh my God, what am I doing in the face of AI these days? Like, should I even be doing this as a career?" But how have you seen, or how do you see, if at all, the opportunity with WordPress today? Like if you could sit in front of your freshman college class or back as a sophomore at high school and sort of tell people about the opportunities of WordPress, do you have a way that you might pitch WordPress to the younger crowd?
Yeah, I would pitch WordPress as a truly everything for someone. WordPress can be as simple as you want it to be, to where a retired person that knows nothing about technology can start up a WordPress blog and use it. And it can be complex, that I've seen total software as a service products be built on top of WordPress. And so that's what I love about it. And there's that old saying of jack of all trades, master of none. But I really think that WordPress is the exception with that, because WordPress can do everything with with code, with plugins, with everything. It's
Yeah.
endless possibilities. And so to someone that is a younger person, and I actually wish that I could almost do like a brain wipe of everything I know of WordPress and start fresh, because I'm ingrained in the older ways of doing things, to where I'm probably not as up to date on Gutenberg and how to use, full site editor as I should be. And so I feel
Yeah.
like a younger person that's just started out will totally grasp that from the get-go, and be able to learn with that. And I think what's also nice about Gutenberg, and I know people don't like it sometimes, and there's there's debates about it and whatnot, but the cool languages are React. PHP is not really a cool language that kids like to learn. So having Gutenberg being based in React, I think, is a leg up for WordPress as well, because it's going to be something that those younger people are already familiar with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, people debate the color of the sky. So I can totally, I totally hear you on the big debate of Gutenberg and site editor and stuff like that. Are you a glass half full or half empty because of AI with WordPress? Do you see WordPress as being potentially threatened or enhanced by some of the accomplishments of AI these days?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. And I have two answers for it, because I operate in two different markets. So on the agency side of things, I do view AI as more of a threat, because we have all these different website builders, not like Elementor or whatnot, but like AI website builders. Like I think WordPress.com now has has a AI builder that you type in what you want, what colors you want, and it builds the site for you. Now, granted, were we probably targeting those people? Probably not. Switching over to the plugin side of things, I view AI as a positive because it's going to get WordPress into more people's hands for that exact use case that I just said of the more beginner or uneducated user can easily get a WordPress website up and going, and our plugins are geared towards beginner markets. So I view more people in WordPress as a positive for our plugin side of the business.
I'm not a developer, but I do feel like one now because of AI. And I've been using a lot of Claude Code in the terminal in a combination with Cursor and building out some React apps. And one of the interesting features that Claude Code just launched, or at least I saw it recently, which I've yet to try, but I need to, is the sort of like, I forget what they call it. It's like a verbose mode where it will teach you while it codes, or simply like explain more while it codes. And I really like that concept because, you know, for the last, I don't know, we're, I guess, mid-August right now. So I guess for the last 8 months, as I really steep myself into AI coding outside of the WordPress space, it was a huge learning, well, it's a huge learning curve, but it's also a huge learning opportunity for me to like learn what was outside of WordPress, like including React and all the frameworks and
Yeah.
all the libraries and dependencies and hosting and how that all comes together. I had a massive 8-month run. Like if AI went away tomorrow, I learned a ton, you know, from like what's out there in technology. Sure. And like, God, you think it's difficult to choose between like the top 4 or 5 contact form plugins in WordPress. The amount of libraries and frameworks in the React world and beyond is just mind-boggling. And then you wonder why, like, it's so highly debated topic amongst developers, especially WordPress developers, etc. Based on Click It, you've been running this agency now for quite some time. You're building websites, like you said, 200, maintaining and building websites. Now you're getting into plugins more prominently. Back in December, you acquired a couple of plugins. Did those align well with your business, and that's why you start to decide like, oh, okay, this, like, we use these plugins all the time with clients. There's an opportunity to purchase, so I did. Or are you like, nah, I kind of want to get into the software side now and maybe have like 2, for lack of a better phrase, 2 streams of income, services and software? How did it all break down for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I do want to get eventually into software, totally. So eventually, my goal is for, you know, in 10 years for the agency to be shut down and we are software plugins only. So when I saw back in March of 2024 that Infinite Uploads was up for sale, I jumped on it because I had previously known of that product. I've never had used it before, but I knew of it, and I thought it was just an awesome plugin. And I even remember a couple of years ago going, I want to buy that one day. And then when it came up for sale, I was like, this is my time. And so I got with Aaron Edwards, who was the previous owner of Infinite Uploads, and we talked about things for about 6-7 months, and
Wow.
we met actually at WordCamp US. We did a couple of escape rooms and hangouts and whatnot together, and he showed me Infinite Uploads and the backend systems and, you know, financial verification through Stripe and whatnot, and so made an offer, and he accepted. And so from there, we we acquired Infinite Uploads and Big File Uploads back in November of 2024. And since then, we've been improving our products, expanding our products, and a lot more. And so from there, we've started up URL Image Importer, which is a WordPress plugin that allows people to paste in a link of an image that's on a different site, and it imports it into their media library. Our ultimate goal is to make WordPress uploads and WordPress media better. So everything that pushes us towards that vision is what we are doing.
Did Aaron give you a better price if you beat him in the escape room and got out before he did?
We were on a team, actually. So,
okay. That's how I would have done it. Aaron, you go into that room. I'm going to go into this room. If I get out, I get 10% off. No, that's great. That's great that you've made that position. I just want to rewind a second. Did you say 2 years was your time frame to shut down the agency?
10.
Oh, 10. Okay. I was like, wow, that's a man who can execute right there. It's like 2 years. All right.
If it's 2 years, even better. But realistically, we're probably looking at like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of freelancers listening to this podcast and obviously agency owners. Gravity Forms is deeply rooted as being, obviously not only one of the first premium contact form plugins to come out for WordPress, but one of like the oldest WordPress businesses, that have been around. And a lot of folks think of that transition from, man, I'm so done with the client services side of things, or it's very competitive and I'm just not up for that fight anymore. And they want to trend into the software side of it. What specifically is it for you? Is it, like it's a very competitive market, client services, very maybe human resource capital intensive? Like why the switch? Why the hard switch from agency life to software life?
Yeah, I think with software life is you have one or a set of products that you're taking care of. With a small business website and with clients and everything that an agency encompasses, you're dealing with so many different types of things that a client could ask you, and so many different bugs and issues. It's just a lot to handle because you're expected to remember all of these things that a client wants you to do, and then they come back 6 months later and they act like that you're the only person that they act like that you're their only customer, and
yeah.
So it's just a lot to remember, and context switching is what's also killing me as well. Is one moment I'm doing XYZ for client A, then client B I'm doing XYZ, and it's just a lot of context switching, and so it's just been more difficult for us, and that's why I want to switch into products. Is we just have a handful of our plugins. We set the terms, we set the pricing. It's better recurring income. We don't have to go chase invoices or worry about stuff like that. It's just a lot more streamlined. Caveats to that, though, is starting a plugin business and company is a lot more difficult because you have to spend lots on marketing. You have to develop a product, stuff like that. You have to support it. Whereas it's a lot easier to get going with an agency. So there's pros and cons to both.
Sure.
It's just you have to decide what route you want to go down. And I went down the route of the agency at first, and now we're veering it into software. But I've seen on X to where there's, I guess, a trend now of product owners or plugin owners going back to or opening up agency side of their business as well. So lots of different sides of the same stone, I think, with WordPress.
Yeah. So here you are about 8-9 months into being more on that software side, or did you have secure forms before the infinite uploads?
Yeah, secure forms launched about 12 months ago. So
okay, so about a year into this.
Yeah. Yep.
That we'll chat about that plugin in a second. It's well, you told me in the green room it doesn't support Gravity Forms yet, but it will be
Correct. Yep.
in the future. But I saw you on Twitter. You were sort of teasing a new product coming for Gravity Forms.
hmm
What's that all about? Because this is breakdown for Gravity Forms customers and users, and I'm sure they're excited to learn what you have to offer.
Yeah, so we are launching this week a new plugin called Big File Form Uploads, which is an add-on for our Big File Uploads plugin. So just to give a short recap, Big File Uploads is a popular WordPress plugin. It recently just celebrated its 1 millionth download back in March of this year. It has over 100,000 active installs. And what it does is it uses file chunking to bypass your web host's maximum upload size. So some web hosts set a super small maximum upload size, and you have to go into your htaccess file or php.ini file and set a variable for a beginner. Way too much to do. They don't want to mess with it. And then as well, say if you want to upload a super large file to WordPress and it's like, 5 gigs of a video in a single file, a WordPress host isn't going to allow you to set a maximum upload size that large. So Big File Uploads uses file chunking to bypass that. One caveat to it has always been it does not support front-end forms. So if someone has a Gravity form on their website and they need to accept a large file through their form, Big File Uploads will not help with that. So that's why we've now created a Big File Form Uploads that hooks into Big File Uploads and increases the maximum upload size that your visitors can upload through your Gravity Forms and other form plugins.
It's fantastic. You can get big file uploads right from WordPress.org. Search for big file uploads on WordPress.org. I'll have the link in the show notes below. So this will add a upload field, or will this replace the file field? How do you envision it working in Gravity Forms? I'm sure you've already been testing it, but just so the listener can understand how it might work for Gravity Forms.
Yeah, so it makes no changes to the Gravity Forms interface or stuff like that. You still build your forms the exact same with the file upload field and the multi up, file upload field. And if you have big file form uploads enabled, um, you just set the maximum upload size in big file uploads, and from there it just works. So with big file form uploads, there's no user interface to it actually. It just all runs in the background. It hooks into and feeds off of these settings in big file uploads, and your users can then upload the file size that you set in Gravity Forms. So you're no longer limited by your host or Gravity Forms. You can do it or set it as large as you want it to be. And in our testing, we've tested up to I think 2 gig file through Gravity Forms, and it's worked great. It uses, as I said, file chunking on the back end, and then it reassembles those chunks and puts it into the default storage location that Gravity Forms stores the uploads that people submit through the forms.
It's fantastic. For the freelancer listening who might have never hit a file upload limit for their customers, let's say they're building websites for customers, they're using Gravity Forms, and they've yet to hit that kind of stopgap for the file size. Where do you see the use cases for something like this? Like, what types of customers or agencies tend to be working with where they're like, oh God, like I need to upload 100 megabyte files, gigabyte size files. What do you think the best use cases are for this?
Yeah, so 2 use cases are going to be the beginner market, to where if you're a developer, you're probably not going to want to use this plugin, because you already know how to do all this in the htaccess file and whatnot. It's more geared towards people that aren't familiar with that kind of things, and they just want to do it through a plugin. Um, so we have the beginner market, but then as well the people that need to upload extremely large files. So as mentioned, no matter within WordPress, no matter how big you set your maximum upload size, when if you're not using big file uploads, what happens is that when you upload a file through your form, not using our solution, it stores it all in memory, and then you're going to tap out of your memory, and it's going to be exhausted. Big file uploads and big file form uploads prevents that by uses the file chunking, and it doesn't keep it all in memory. So you can upload 2 gig files, 5 gig files, etc. through your front end forms now. And it's perfect for people, all different types of use cases, and I'm not going to go through them all, but one that that we know of is there's a competition that requires people to upload videos, and it's a lot of like business ideas and innovation, so they don't want to post it on YouTube or somewhere public. And then they tried to accept only a Google Drive link, but then you get into the whole debacle of people aren't sharing it properly or or stuff like that. So we actually already have or will have a organization, a nonprofit that will be using our plugin, because they'll be able to accept those large MP4 files directly through Gravity Forms on their website, which is Gravity Forms is what they use for their application process.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I'm actually in the middle of just working on a new video for Gravity Forms. Obviously I enjoy AI. A lot of the stuff that people are doing for tutorials on AI, I've done a bunch as well. And like the use case that happens a lot with AI is like, oh, build a directory site with AI. Look how easy that is. And it still takes hours and hours of your life.
Right.
Sure, like AI spits out something like super fast and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you quickly realize that like only about 70% of it works, and then that other 30% is a slot machine that you're pulling the arm down and going, please AI, get it right this time. And then you wait to see if it gets it right. You're like, nah, I gotta do it again. And I, quite honestly, like it really shows the value of something like WordPress, of course, Gravity Forms, plugins like yours, because by putting together 3, 4, 5, 6 plugins, and not very big plugins, a lot of these add-ons to Gravity Forms, you can build a business directory, right? Gravity Kit, Zach's products is fantastic for that, right? Building business directories using a plugin like yours. Now you can say, well, if I ever wanted to replicate and build my own, let's say YouTube type of experience, people could start uploading videos, display it in a grid using Zach's products. Everything's powered by Gravity Forms, and the base of it being WordPress. Like it's a pretty wonderful world. And I think we've been taking it for granted for a while. And all of a sudden AI is a shiny new thing. And it's like, oh, but you could just take this stuff off the shelf and it would be done in 10 minutes. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay a couple $100, but if your organization is making money off of whatever it is you're building, why not spend a couple $100 and it's done and it's reliable versus, spinning the wheel of fortune with AI. And, it's just an interesting concept. So it's great that, you're leaning into the Gravity Form space as well, because it's a pretty big ecosystem. When the plugin is ready, it'll be available at clickit.now.com, I presume, or are you going to have a dedicated website for it?
It's going to be on infiniteuploads.com. So this is falling under our Infinite Upload suite of plugins and products.
Very good. So they'll be able to get it at the listener will be able to get it at infiniteuploads.com. It is August 19th today. This podcast should go out on Monday, which I think is the 25th. 25th, if all things go well. Will your plugin be out on the 25th or after?
It should be out late today or tomorrow. So
okay.
we're still wrapping up a couple of things, and we are like 99.9% there. We just have to button up a couple of marketing aspects in terms of the release and whatnot. But the plugin itself is ready to go. We used Freemius as the merchant of record and the payment processor. So it's very simple to use. And in terms of pricing, we've priced it extremely affordable. One site is $14.99 per year. And so extremely cheap. There's also a lifetime option for one site is $59.99.
Very nice. Very nice. Blake Whittle, clickitnow.com, infiniteuploads.com. That's where you'll be able to find the products we talked about today. You can also find him at WordCamp this week if you're listening to it the week of the 25th. Hunt him down, shake his hand, say hi, buy his products. Blake, anywhere else you want folks to go to say thanks?
I'm very active on X and LinkedIn, so feel free to find me on there. I think on X it's Blake Whittle 7 is my username. I don't think that there's actually 7 of us on LinkedIn, but that's what was available, or on X, and then on LinkedIn, just Blake Whittle.
That's it for today's episode. If you could do one more thing for me today, share this episode on social media, your favorite Facebook group or Discord channel. Spread the word about this podcast. It really helps. If you haven't added Breakdown to your favorite podcast app, point your browser to gravityforms.com/breakdown and click the icon of your app to add us and listen to us every 2 weeks. Okay, we'll see you in the next episode.